You know that feeling, right? You walk into a store, look at a wall of products, and you're just completely overwhelmed by all the options for one single thing. Well, that feeling is no accident. It's actually the result of a really powerful economic system that shapes almost everything you buy. So let's unpack what's really going on.
We're going to start with a pretty simple question that really gets to the heart of this whole thing. Why on earth are there so many different kinds of running shoes? I mean, it seems like every single brand has dozens of models, and they're all just slightly different. What's the deal?
You see this everywhere, don't you? Just walls of shoes, every single one screaming that it's unique. You've got your Pumas, your Adidas, Nikes, New Balance, the list just goes on and on. This massive variety is actually the central clue to the economic puzzle we're about to solve.
And look, it's obviously not just about shoes, right? Just think about it for a second. Smartphones, pizza places, jackets, even coffee shops. Our entire consumer world is pretty much built on this foundation of endless, slightly different choices.
And get a load of this. That number, 1,757, that's how many different kinds of men's athletic shoes were available on just one website. That is a staggering amount of choice, and it's all driven by a very, very specific type of market.
So what's going on here? How do economists make sense of all this? It's definitely not a monopoly, where one company controls everything. And it's not what they call perfect competition where everyone sells the exact same thing, like wheat. It's something else, something in between, a hybrid system that perfectly describes the world of brands we all live in.
And that something in between has a name. It's called monopolistic competition. Now I know, the name itself sounds like a total contradiction, but it actually brilliantly captures the two big forces at play: the monopoly that a company has over its own unique brand and the intense competition from everybody else.
So what does that even mean? Well, at its core, monopolistic competition is a market where a whole bunch of firms are in the game. But here's the kicker, and this is the most important part. Each one is selling something that's just a little bit different from the rest. That tiny difference, that's everything. Okay, so this whole system basically boils down to four key things. First, you've got lots of different companies. Second, each one has a slightly different product. That's the big one. Third, because their products are different, they compete on things like quality and marketing, not just on price. And finally, and this is crucial, it's really easy for new companies to jump in and start competing. And what's really cool is that this whole setup creates this fascinating life cycle for any hot new product. A company can totally strike gold, but that success is usually pretty short-lived. Let me show you how it works.
All right, let's make this real. Imagine Nautica drops a cool new jacket. For a little while, it's the only one of its kind. They basically got this temporary mini monopoly. So unlike a farmer who has to just take whatever the market price is for wheat, Nautica can actually choose a price that will make them the most profit.
And this is the payoff. This is the whole reason they innovate in the first place. Nautica figures out the sweet spot, the perfect price and quantity to produce. They can sell those jackets for, say, $75, even though it only costs them $25 to make. That big blue rectangle you see, that's pure economic profit. It's the jackpot every company is chasing.
Ah, but there's always a catch, right? In this world of monopolistic competition, that beautiful blue box of profit, it's like an ice cream cone on a hot day. It does not last. Why? Well, because that profit is like a giant flashing sign to everyone else.
Because remember that last rule we talked about? Anyone can jump in. There are no big barriers stopping them. So when other companies, like The Gap or Banana Republic, see Nautica raking it in, what do you think they do? They start making their own similar jackets, of course.
And this is what happens next. It's totally predictable. As all these competitors flood the market, the demand for that original Nautica jacket just starts to shrink. And pretty soon, the highest price they can get away with is, well, it's pretty much what it costs to make the jacket. And boom, just like that, the profit box has completely disappeared.
So you can see this endless cycle, right? In the short term, a company innovates, creates something different, and makes some serious cash. But in the long run, the imitators and competitors arrive, and that profit just gets competed away. This forces everyone to go back to the drawing board and innovate all over again. It's like a hamster wheel of new stuff.
Okay, so this never-ending cycle of innovate, imitate, repeat has massive consequences for the world we actually live in. It explains so much, like why we're bombarded with ads, why brands are so powerful, and it leads to some pretty weird economic outcomes. All right, one of the strangest side effects of this whole system is something economists call excess capacity. Now, in a perfectly efficient world, a company would pump out goods at the lowest possible average cost. But here, nope. They actually produce a little less than that, which means they always have the capacity to make more and do it cheaper, but they don't.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. You see excess capacity all around you. Think about all the empty tables at your favorite restaurant on a Tuesday night, or the gas pumps that are totally free even during rush hour. Those businesses could be serving more people, but the way the market is set up, they just don't.
So that naturally makes you ask, wait, is this whole system just inefficient? And the classic economist answer is, well, compared to what? The only real way to get rid of this so-called inefficiency is to have total product uniformity. You know, a world where every single jacket, every pizza, every shoe is exactly the same.
So where does all the money go? Let's break it down. Take a $70 pair of running shoes. Only about $20 of that is for the actual stuff. You know, the materials, making it, shipping it. A mind-blowing $50, that's most of the price, goes to what are called selling costs. And that's everything. The marketing, the advertising, the fancy store.
And that, right there, is why branding and advertising are so incredibly important in this kind of market. It's not just background noise. Ads are how companies create that crucial difference in our heads. It's also how they signal quality. Think about it, right? A company isn't going to spend millions of dollars on a Super Bowl ad for a product that's going to fall apart in a week. The ad itself becomes a signal that they believe in their product. Which brings us all the way back to the main point. We get this incredible world of variety, of constant new things to try, but it absolutely comes at a cost. So let's wrap this up.
So at the end of the day, here's the deal. This whole system is one giant trade-off. On one hand, we get this super dynamic, innovative market with an almost dizzying array of choices for every possible taste. But on the other hand, we're the ones footing the bill for all that marketing and those built-in inefficiencies, and we do it through higher prices. And that leaves us with one last question to think about the next time you're out shopping. We all say we love having choices. But when you realize that $50 of your $70 shoes is basically the price you're paying for that choice, you've got to ask yourself, how much is all this variety really worth to you?